ויפגע במקום, וילן שם kiva hashemesh. He, meaning Yaakov, came upon a certain place and stopped there for the night, for the sun had set. It's just one verse in the Torah, not a particularly distinct one if you just read it quickly. Yaakov had fled from his home after stealing the birthright from Esav, his brother, and he arrives at a place and stops there for the night because it's getting dark. But of course, the rabbis don't see these 7 words as ordinary words, and like they do all the time, they create a story with them. And here's one of the stories they create. Yaakov didn't just arrive, he prayed at that place. Vayifgama makom, based on where that word appears in Yirmiyahu. And he didn't just pray at that place, but he instituted the evening prayer, Arvit, the service that will begin just very shortly. Avraham, according to the rabbis, instituted Shacharit, the morning service. Yitzchak instituted the Mincha, the afternoon service. And Yaakov, according at this very moment, institutes the evening service. And it wasn't just physically dark because the sun had set, but he, Yaakov, was of course at his lowest point, having run away from his family, alone and afraid. And in all the darkness, physical and spiritual, the tradition says that Yaakov had this desire, this incredible desire, to go to Mount Moriah, which would be, of course, the future site of the Holy Temple. And that's looking forward and looking back. Anyone know what Mount Moriah is? Where the Akedah occurred, where Yitzchak was nearly slaughtered, offered up as a sacrifice. So for some reason, Yaakov wanted to go to Mount Moriah. Is this future? Is this past? We don't know, but the rabbis collapse time in many ways because he knows it all. Which, of course, based on where he was pretty far away. So, according to the tradition, according to the Midrash, the earth actually shrunk, and the distance between where Yaakov was, that place, and Mount Moriah disappeared. And according to the tradition, it says that Mount Moriah, kafatz, it jumped to where Yaakov was. That place, Hamakom. He then, of course, has that famous dream of angels going up and down on the ladder and awakens and says, Manora Hamakom hazeh. How awesome is this place? Achen yesh Adonai b'makom hazeh v'ani anochi lo yadati. God was in this place and I did not know. Perhaps this story that the rabbis tell, this is a number of commentaries being mushed together, is a bit fantastical, that the earth shrinks so that Yaakov can get to the place that he desires in just a moment. Of course, the rabbis read back in the Torah that Yaakov prayed the evening prayer, or even prayed at all, when the notion of prayer doesn't really exist at that moment, even though the structure of the prayer service was built much later in terms of chronology and history. And yet, they aren't just creating a story, the rabbis, to fill in the blanks of Parashat Vayetze and these 7 words. They're trying to tell a story so that we might not see our ordinary lives as so ordinary, or perceive an ordinary moment as just any moment, or darkness as inevitable. The Sfat Emet teaches that the story of Yaakov is told this way to teach us that the will of a person can awaken the holiness of the Holy One in any place, and that in a time of darkness, the only way to reveal the light is through some extraordinary desire for the light. And that's the word that is used, ratzon, extraordinary will, extraordinary desire. For everything, he says, is dependent on the will of the human being, of the Ratzon Ha'adam. And he says, he continues, the Svat Emet, the Hasidic Rabbi of Ger, and there is a lesson here, he says, that there is no place that one can feel the inner light if a person comes to the essence of truth and awakens their will. It's been another hard week. It feels like we say that every week. It was discovered this week that Omer Nutra, the lone soldier from Long Island, who had many ties in our community and communities surrounding us, was killed actually on October 7th, was murdered on October 7th. And I know many are sitting heavy as we are here with that news after a year and plus of imagining him still alive and waiting for him hopefully to come home. The ceasefire in Lebanon is holding, but it's shaky. And there is no ceasefire in Gaza, and this week was another deadly week in Gaza. And the future of our own country is deeply uncertain. And we, of course, are at the darkest time of the year. But in the midst of the darkness, whether it is personal or communal, whatever is happening for each of us in our own lives, someone taught us that prayer helps us find our way. This evening prayer that happens in the darkness is according to this story of Yaakov and all the many commentaries that comment on it, is put here in the darkness to awaken our own will for the light. It's instituted very much so in the darkness to say, find a place and get up, awaken the will, awaken the light. It will not be delivered to us out of nowhere. The light will only come because we want it more than the darkness. The light will only come because we want it more than the darkness. Sometimes, I find this myself, it is hard to find the will, the desire. But according to this story of Yaakov, tonight, just like any night, is no ordinary night. And this is no ordinary darkness. And this is just not any place. And we are just not ordinary people. We are human beings created in the image of God who have an inner light and an inner will. And Yaakov instituted the evening prayer, the one we're going to say in just a few short minutes, so that we would find it and pray it and come together to be together to say the evening prayer, so that we might be awake to the story. And may we, like Yaakov, discover when we look inside and find the will and find the light that God too was in this place and in us, even if we did not know.